Right, I should make some sort of a review at this point. Hey dudes and dudettes, this is my first experience with the world of Baldur's Gate, so I'll be covering things mostly from a mechanical and personal perspective on what I think is important. That way, you know what to expect if you're thinking about throwing imaginary money at your computer. You can technically play this game in multiplayer, but I think it's too unstable and clunky for now, so I'll just cover the single player experience. Besides, I would need friends to play in multiplayer. I hear this game doesn't follow the exact rules of Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, so if you're looking for a game that has a faithful implementation to the letter, then this is not it. Please note that this game is in early access, so it's a work in progress. Everything you're seeing will probably change in about 6 months or less. As a general note, it's always better to wait for launch before buying a title. And the sections I'll be covering will be in the description. There are some minor spoilers included. If you only came for a specific part or don't have time to watch everything, the video is marked so you can skip to it, like the summary section where I'll talk about whether I think the game is worth the money or not. But I'll appreciate it if you stay and listen to my 12-year-old humor. Alright, that's the intro. The game world is set in Faerun, a land which is filled with fluctuating conflict between races, tribes, and various versions of religious fanaticism, where you can be the one to strengthen it or be the ultimate vindicator of justice to calm the pressure with dice rolls. Blood. Your mission is to get rid of a brainworm that the octopus people planted in your head for whatever reason. They just do that, I guess. You wake up on a spaceship under attack by devils. You meet a green lady with anger issues that wants you to touch the tentacles of a big brain, which is supposed to blast you in the realm of normal things like little fat people, tiny people, frog people, and all other edgelords.
My name's Astarion.
Per standard RPG rules, you wake up on a beach with almost nothing on you. The main quest wants you to get rid of a brainworm, so you're more in control of your destiny, or you can skip the whole quest line and go around killing everyone like a maniac, because
what is the worth of a single mortal's life?
It's made up. They're NPCs, so utilize the powers of the brainworm and dominate the world. The story doesn't go that far yet, and it probably won't in Act 1. It will be the only act that the early access players experience in the game, and Larian is using the feedback from the players to build the other acts. Now, there's a lot of cinematic-like scenes in the game, and they're implemented well enough. There's bugs in clipping because it's early access. Of course, the camera work is still not finished, and sometimes the game places the camera at an odd place. But if anything else, it gives you a reason to laugh at the absurdity or rage at it if you're that type of person. However, these expressions require you to uninstall the free Nihilism DLC from your IRL biomachine, so you decide if it's worth it. The game implements body language to bring about maximum immersion of the characters, and I think they're doing a well enough job so far. I've encountered a few scenes that crushed my game, and there are a few instances where NPCs are not implemented correctly. As of patch 4, the cinematics and character dialogues have been smoothed over, so everything looks a bit more decent. There's also not safe for work scenes that I obviously cannot show because
Tonight,
that would just be
you are mine.
Too edgy. You are the arbiter of your destiny, sort of. You can pursue various quests, and the choices and the dice rolls will determine your experience. A failure overall simply means that you get vibe checked by reality, you learn that everyone fails in life, and the overall story adapts to you and who you pretend to be. We should learn from our failures and try again until we make it to get that dopamine rush of success. The world reacts to the choices that you make, which includes neutrals, friendlies, enemies, and your companions. You even get approval ratings to further involve you in the illusion that it's easy to make friends. Certain actions are approved by some party members, but at the same time are disapproved by others. However, there's common ground on what everyone approves. Aw, he's so cute. Depending on the attitude that your companions have with you and the choices that you make, that's the tone that they'll take with you and your general presence in their vicinity, or simply try to leave and murder you. You don't need to be involved in any of the quest lines apart from the tutorial, and you are free to shape your adventure in any way that you want, right from when you crash land on the beach. I think there's a beauty and familiarity to it, starting fresh and alone. The game gives you existential dread from the get-go.
Who are you?
So it's here to stay and give you comfort for the long run. For races, you can choose to be a more attractive version of your human self. You can be smug, horny, a frog, fat, short, sexually ambiguous, or an edgelord. For classes, you can pick a fighter, cleric, ranger, rogue, wizard, druid, and warlock at this point in early access, each with their unique skills and dialogue interactions in the world. Sadly, we don't have access to play the origin characters with their own unique backstory at this stage, and don't know if they will become available at any point during early access, but I certainly hope they will be. They probably won't, but hope dies last.
Hope. Such a tease.
You have a preset of choices for the character features, but you can choose from a vast amount of lore-friendly and fun-friendly colors you'd like. For example, you can be a red frog. Rabbit. Rabbit. I choose the edgelord because in this timeline, people fear the edgelords, and what's a better feeling than having people think that you're better than you actually are. Please send me. Whatever fantasy you pick, you'll be able to run around without knowing what to do and relax in the environment of the game, looking into the distance and ask yourself, what am I doing with my life? Because the scenery looks phenomenal. You have the ability to jump and throw people, push them off cliffs, and sneak around in the shadows to spread the word of your favorite supernatural being, while your friends collect mandatory donations. The world map we have in early access is kinda big.
Is it indeed? We'll see.
There are two layers, the above sea level and the underdark, which is where the strange monsters live. There are different atmospheres throughout the around 30-hour lifespan of one gameplay. If you're not a completionist and are new, you get the intensity of the spaceship tutorial, the calamity down, down, down by the river, the cold war within the seemingly peaceful druid grove, the brewing chaos within the goblin camps, the illusion of the swamp, the uneasiness of the Underdark, and traversing these terrains will give you the sense of progression that you need to keep going just a little bit, because you might find a treasure behind a waterfall or a ring of somebody that was definitely not pushed off a cliff. You get rewarded for wandering aimlessly, and if you're watching my content, I assume you enjoy that sort of thing. So, thank you. I appreciate you. The combat is turn-based and is pretty dynamic, with the actions to jump, shove, and a couple of mobility spells. You can yeet your enemies and friends into oblivion with a high strength attribute, just like every balanced game that focuses on fun. Your turn in combat is determined by an automated roll of a d20 dice, and you may control a couple of party members to execute combos if they get a similar initiative roll. The combat gets pretty slow because the AI takes a bit of time to respond with an action while contemplating how to turn you into a meal. You get one action point that you can use to cast a spell, attack, help an ally, throw stuff, dash, and knock people unconscious, which nobody uses by the way. You have one bonus action which you can use to hide or sneak, shove things, dip your weapon in surface, and jump. Finally, you have the yellow movement bar, which varies in maximum distance depending on the race that you pick, and I'm just gonna leave you a second to think about that. The mechanics might seem a little bit strange at first, but I think they're easy to learn for all kinds of players, and once you get the hang of it, you'll be able to get pretty creative in execution. Usually an encounter with around 10 people can take about 25 minutes if you don't know what you're doing, especially with the RNG aspect of the game's hit chance, but it gets a lot faster once you learn the mechanics and what the spells are. It might not be to everyone's taste, but I seriously love it when I get a 99% hit chance and miss a critical blow that might change the tide of battle in my favor. Блядь. The level cap is restricted to level 4, which may anger most players, but I think with enough creativity this can be overpowered in a good party composition and some good positioning. The combat is not flashy, although it can be, and I think it goes for the realism of impact kind of feel, which brings about every character in combat has a specific role to play, and just charging in with everyone is certainly a bad idea unless you're going for the self-deletion experience. Currently, the game has only one difficulty mode that gets progressively easy the more you learn how to execute the different approaches with the classes, which boil down to always have the high ground. This gives it a great learning curve that's mostly limited by your imagination and the size of the hill. There are too much choices to be made in the game, which I see as a beneficial thing, but it might put some people off. You can attack anyone you wish to and choose to align yourself with different parties if you pursue their quest chain and betray them at a pivotal moment. You may decide to be resolute and play a character that seeks righteousness in the world, or perhaps one that is a madman and shoots every single thing that moves. The game thrusts moral decisions upon you to engage you while playing it, like would you defend a group of tieflings to protect themselves from both druids and the goblins? Will you side with the goblins to massacre the tieflings? Will you slaughter the tieflings just to appease a sect of druids? Will you smear feces all over your face to make sure that the goblins let you into their camp? Yes, that's a thing.
I can't believe you did it!
Or just kill them all for the extra XP. You can craft your own experience. If you want to lie, steal, assassinate, seek justice, be passive, then go ahead and reap the consequences, because the world interacts with your twisted sense of right and wrong. There's a ton of replay value in the game. I have over 300 hours in it, and I've only finished the main story a couple of times as of now, and still haven't explored every single option with all the races and the classes. The world reacts to you depending on your race, class, allegiance, and the attitude that you have, so it might pique your curiosity to see how everyone reacts to the new characters that you make. The story is always different for each character. The game has a satisfactory small mod community that creates new features and data mines features already included in the files of the game but are not released for the public. So if you feel like there's something basic missing from the game, or you would like a greater sense of progression, chances are there's many more like you and somebody is working on a mod to add it. For example, there are mods that unlock the level cap of 4 to 10 or 20 to modify the sense of progression, but I find that it just makes me feel too overpowered, which is why I have it. There's modders working to change the rules of the combat to resemble more 5th edition D&D, so those that are not fond of the combat system due to Lorian's approach have something more to look forward to. Note that in early access, every new patch probably breaks the mods, so you will have to wait for your favorite mod to be updated by the creator before using it. Some mods crash the game, so be careful when using them. Speaking of incompletions, there are bugs mainly regarding padding and jump cuts in animation of dialogue. A few quest chains are incomplete due to models being incomplete, or the areas in which the quest should be are not finished, or the quest expands into a section of the map not available for early access. I had a few game-breaking instances in my playthroughs, so I think any problem regarding this can be overlooked easily if you make sure that you quick save often in any case something vile happens. Larian releases hotfixes from the data of the playthroughs, so if you're experiencing a crash, chances are that it's being registered in their system to be worked on. I'm surface level knowledgeable on game optimization, but I feel this should be mentioned because a lot of people in the community are experiencing it from the launch of the game. Given that the game is in early access, I speculate that it is not optimized to run on all machines, and there are frame drops that will annoy your gameplay experience if you're looking to run it on settings with a subpar machine. What sort of solved my problem of frequent frame drops was changing the graphics card use of my laptop, updating all my drivers, cleaning my ventilation to make sure that there's clear airflow in my laptop, and tweaking some of the display settings. Hope this helps you somehow. Even though I thoroughly enjoy the game and will continue to, I cannot recommend it to everyone at this point in early access because of the high price tag, the frustrations a casual player might have while wanting to try a new game and having to think that he or she was cheated out of their money due to bugs or performance issues. As of right now, with all the content in the patches and the bugs, I think their game is worth about $20, but it has the potential to exceed far above the asking price in about a year, and I think that it will. However, if you have a spare $60 lying around and you're willing to support the developers to oversee the development of the game by sticking out through the unpolished odd moments, then this might be a cool experience for you. I think the game is great despite some minor glitches and some big glitches. The developers seem to be working on updating the game and are reacting to feedback from the community whenever their offices are not drenched from the 2021 global warming patch. I think they're shaping the game in something that the community wants, within reason of course, like slightly changing the attitude of the followers, adjusting the camera, minor padding issues, and user interface alterations. Of course, this statement will never ever be contradicted, so let's move on. I strongly recommend looking into the Steam community page to see the discussions for more detail before making a decision to purchase, but be careful of the negative atmosphere surrounding some players, and there are a few people that haven't been able to launch the game, and there are people that get crashes for various reasons. Luckily, I've been fortunate to figure out solutions or workarounds to the problems that I had, like changing my graphics card use or disabling mods. I want you to keep in mind that the game is in early access and there might probably be some problems even if you do everything correctly on installation. I expect I'll do another review in about a year, or if my opinion drastically changes, whichever comes first. Whatever you decide, my videos will be here to document how things are going because I like the game a lot, just like Divinity Original Sin 2. Remember, it's just a video game. There's no date set for release, and Larian has said that the game will be done when it's done, but I expect it to release around April 2023. This is just mere personal speculation on my part, and it's based in absolutely nothing credible, so don't quote me on this. Although it would be pretty funny if the game releases then. I like to make it clear right now that I haven't made any deals with devils or cambions in 2021. I'm setting my expectations low so I don't get disappointed. I hope they take their time before making an announcement for release because they have their work cut out for. Now, as a final note, people might be concerned about real-world politics or activism being jammed into a video game. This is not the case here. From what I've seen in the game, after completing and exploring every NPC since launch over the patches, the game focuses on the broader picture of communication between the races and the factions, rather than being concerned what an NGO or a Gopnik might think of the game. I think Larian is doing a good job so far of maintaining balance, but what's more alarming is why in the 9 hells do we not have a hotkey to jump? Do we not have enough keys on the keyboard? Is the code too added too complex? Does the fear of a 5-minute speedrun scare Larian devs so much?
Now the thing is, I mean, seeing him click on jumping this much, shouldn't we like add a shortcut for it?
But that will cut time for him, right?
These are the questions that keep a person up at night. Let me know, I want to sleep again. I'll leave a link to a video from a creator that I appreciate, Harvsnobs, that explores the drama into the Baldur's Gate 3 community if you're into that sort of thing and want to delve deeper into the rabbit hole. Anyway, that's my take on it. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this video helpful. Wish I had a smooth ending.
Such is life. Outrage leading to a singular end.